Since time immemorial, teams have comprised of only a few members and a team leader, but sometimes a team leader can still be your very best friend. Team RWBY of Beacon is the perfect example of that. Though despite the odds, the trials and tribulations, and the countless waves of grim that had been led by the evil Empress Salem, their union and their friendship carried them through all that, and in doing so, created a grand and loving family. But what happens when this team is broke apart, not by emotional means, but by physical means of a otherworldly variety that has now affected this world, but could potentially be a threat to all worlds? Follow me as we enter this dark, desolate place of the Shortsterverse and ponder the question: what if Team RWBY face zombies? Following the Vital Festival tournament, a strange new change had occurred within this universe. Salem had found knowledge that should have never been inside a Grimoire from a forgotten time. However, the enchantment of using the book had corrupted her brain, and before she knew it, she and her Grim turned into something ugly. The grim invasion on Beacon after the tournament took a very surprising turn as a mass of zombies developed within the Great Academy, with only so little happening to survive. Ruby Rose, Yang Xiaolong, Blake Belladonna, Weiss Schnee, Nora Valkyrie, Lai Ren, Pira Nikos, John Ark, Coco Adele, Velvet Scarlatina, and Crow Bronwyn were a few out of the many who survived, and were now on a journey to Atlas Academy to find haven in this zombie apocalypse. But along the way, to ask Raven Bronwyn to help our heroes get to Atlas, Coco and Velvet were turned during an ambush from the White Fang zombies at the train station. They jumped off the train halfway through the journey to get the zombie Grim off their trail, and took the long way to Raven's camp. Raven was refusal to leave the camp when their safety was assured here, and while everyone took time to rest with Yang and Raven having a talk together and tried to work through the resentment, Nora was lured in by a zombie hunger Grim, and when Ren tried to find her, now in a bloated state, he and Nora were turned into zombies and attacked Raven's camp with a group of other zombie Grim. To save everyone, Raven creates a portal that leads to a port that will take them to Atlas Academy. But as RWBY stumbles, and with Raven busy, Yang throws RWBY through the portal just before it closes, leaving Yang behind. The group was saddened, knowing that they lost 5 of them in just 2 days. RWBY and Crow took it in the worst. While setting up camp inside a nearby treehouse, Jean noticed that RWBY was bitten, which shocked everyone at first, but RWBY wasn't affected. Suddenly, a couple more zombie Grim came, and a chase ensued within the forest. But Pyrrha was eaten right in front of Jean and RWBY. But at that moment, RWBY's eyes began to spark out beams of light as the zombie Grim vanished. As she passed out, a mourning Jean carries RWBY back to the group. RWBY's silver eyes were somehow a key to making a cure for the virus, but it was unstable while still in RWBY. They almost made it to the port to Atlas, but for some reason, RWBY was getting weaker and weaker. Her silver eyes had somehow weakened her immune system for the zombie bite. Knowing that she was about to die, she asked Crow to take out her eyes and make a cure from them. But he angrily refuses, and was afraid he was going to lose her like he lost Summer Rose. But RWBY said at that moment, "You won't, 'cause you'll save all of us." And she will be with her, and Yang, and Tai. Crow let Jean carefully take RWBY's eyes, with everyone being there for her. Blake sees that there is a lot of zombies, including the zombies of Emerald and Mercury at the port. RWBY, now blinded, chose to drive him away. And although everyone thought it was suicide, Weiss, however, went with her to be her eyes, leaving Blake, Jean, and Crow on the ship to Atlas. Blake watches in horror as a third of Team RWBY were now being mauled by zombies, but RWBY tells Blake to be happy and that it will be a happily ever after soon, as RWBY rose and S.W.I met their untimely end. So many friends and family were lost, but when one door closes, another one opens when arriving in Atlas. Neptune Vasilias and Sun Wukong were alive and well to pull a scare prank on John, but then they too were jump-scared by Peli Polandia, who escorts them to Atlas HQ and Atlas's leader, James Ironwood. Ironwood tells our heroes that he's been rescuing people from all across the world so that he could evacuate them all to a safe island away from the zombie virus, and has the technology to make a cure from RWBY's eyes as well. However, the zombies will invade in 2 hours, so they would have to be quick, and plant explosives all over the academy, which will wipe at least 50% of them all. As Jean, Sun, and Neptune plant the explosives, Jean finds zombie Salem and Winter Schnee, Weiss's sister, not affected, but her arms and legs were completely cut off. Jean takes Winter back to Ironwood for an explanation, with a furious Crow demanding answers. Ironwood reveals that there was no evacuation. He was just bringing people here to feed and contain Salem, as Crow was about to kill him for allowing his family to die. Salem had woken up, and Ironwood took his own life in fear. Our heroes tried to avoid Salem and get to the jet that will take them to the medical facility, but Neptune and Sun were eaten whole by Salem, and Crow died trying to hold Salem back. When the remote to the explosives didn't go off, Jean decides to activate them himself. Blake begs him not to go, but Jean gives her RWBY's eyes and tells her to do it for them, for him, and for Pyrrha. Jean Arc sets off the explosives, killing Salem, 50% of the zombie population, and himself as Atlas Academy was blown to pieces. Blake, Penny, and Winter were all that was left of the survivors. Everyone took their own time to comfort each other until they made it to the facility, which turns out to be a ship, not of Atlas origin. And as they were boarded, they were met by Professor Ozpin, still alive and well. And at that moment, he said, "Your efforts and bravery are to be commended. I'm so sorry for all your losses, and they will all be mourned for as soon as possible. But for now, Blake Belladonna, the Grand Inquisitor wants to speak with you. Something about a proposition, one might say."